What's going on, guys? Caleb here, and I'm on with June. June, how are you doing?
Doing good. Can't be better.
Glad to hear. So, for those of you guys who know June, he's been on the channel once before. We met a couple months back talking about his experience with FSC, and we are back again because quite a bit has transpired. And not only that, but June has crossed, well, the miraculous 30,000 a month, June. I hope you don't hate me for saying the numbers, but that was the goal that you'd had set way back when you first joined, and it's been quite the journey to get here. And so, today we're going to talk about I think what that journey looked like and also some of the key inflection points, and then maybe answers some frequently asked questions that I always get asked about FSC or people have about fractional sales consulting at large. But
Yeah.
with that, let's take it back to the beginning. I mean, obviously, if you want to talk about your story for people who don't know you as your first time, what was kind of your background experience? Where were you coming from prior to fractional sales consulting?
So people need to understand that fractional sales consulting is not like a get rich quick. I hate I fucking sound like a guru probably. It's not a get rich quick for sales closers, not like something that it's like sales also, right? You put in the hours, put in the work to make it work exactly the same thing also. But
Mhm.
what it allows is more, I guess, control and stability at the end of the day. And it's a next step progression also naturally, right? And if you're a really good closer, making some good money, you can stay with that. But if you, like I said, if you want to have more stability, have more control, and also find fulfillment in terms of helping people out, like looking at the data, analytics, and all that good stuff, and you feel like you're more of an engineer, then I mean, fractional sales consultancy is a way. Uh, my journey, I've been in sales for 4.5 years now so far.
Mhm.
And so I've been long in space. I've been going through different managements, under different managements, shitty ones, good ones, rarely good ones. Most of them are shitty. I was thinking to myself, oh shit, maybe if I get into it, I can do way better.
Right.
Because it's not only the sales skills, it's more like understanding the process. Like why is the process like this? This creates so much friction in my call right now. Why
Yeah.
can't we not just prevent that from happening?
Mhm.
So that back tracking process that I had in my mind kind of transpired, I guess, in the whole sales coach, well, when I became sales coach and FSC at the same time.
Yeah, 1,000%. And I mean, I think we had met, we crossed paths, years back when it just came to kind of sales development in your career. And for those of you guys who care, I mean, you didn't talk about it much, but you are like world class as far as closers go, kind of one of the poster childs for, the high ticket dream that I think a lot of people are sold. By no means like a Goomba or Greenie to the space. You talk about being through management. Yeah, been through a bunch of different companies. How many offers would you say that you kind of maybe had sold or worked for even prior to FSC, kind of the background or the extent of your experience coming in?
So I said 17 different offers, but honestly, if you count the offers that I've stayed for like 3 days or a week, also it'd probably be 20 plus, honestly.
Wow.
Probably
Yeah, welcome to the industry, right?
just the
Um,
just the whole bar with like sales management or sales closers self, like the whole sales industry, the bar is very, very low.
Yeah. No, especially these types of businesses too, where I mean they're kind of akin to startups where, the barrier to entry sometimes is really low. People want to jump the gun and get closers in just because they're tired of taking sales calls when really they should stay in the saddle a little bit longer. And then when they get salespeople, as you said, no idea how to manage them. I've certainly been there myself. And I mean, if you can recall, what led you to like the inflection point of wanting to join FSC? From my perspective, knowing you, I kind of have my take on it, but from your end, what was kind of the breaking point in your mind where it was like, I think this is something that I should do?
I think you and I both know what happened actually to me because I was
Yeah.
I was I was under your management also for quite some time also.
Mm.
What happened was I was closing for an offer. I had 33 show ups and I closed 14. There was
Hmm.
no like, I mean, you see, I think I've showed you the funnel once also, but there was like no disqualification funnels. There
Hmm.
was no like marketing channels, just like a
Hmm.
CTA post on Instagram.
Right.
So like a DM center was set, that was just one call close. So in order
Hmm.
for me to one call close these people, like it was just like sheer sales skills, really. Like
Right.
prevention objection to the top tier objection to handle. Every call that I got, I had to objection to handle. I closed 14 out of 33.
Yep.
So
Cold is what cold does, right? I mean, that's where your skills are made, is knowing how to convert people who are, no marketing and just pretty much have booked a call with like, I was just curious to get info. But
yeah,
yeah, you
yeah.
were saying.
I was, I guess, delivering like a world class service to as its closer to the business owner.
Hmm.
Um, but I had a few meetings and they were I had a feeling that they're playing around with my commissions, you know. And then once I
Mm,
give a feedback, they're like, there was one time I was in a meeting and this guy was telling me, "Hey, Jude, you're my employee. You don't have any rights to tell me that." So I was like,
wow.
and in my mind, I was like, "Hey, actually, you're right. You're right. I am an employee, am I?"
Mm,
So but I still tolerated it because I had a bigger vision with the business that I wanted to carry through
right.
because I wanted to build the business. I took the business from 20K to 95K a month just with
Hmm.
closing alone. So
Hmm.
I wanted to take it to like at least $1 million a month, really, and having my own team with that, you
Right.
know.
Right.
So I tolerated, and second month, third month, he was keep on playing around with the commissions, you know.
Mm,
Like my commissions, I was expecting this, he was halving it out. It's like I'll pay it later.
yeah.
So I gave him the feedback again. He was like, nope, you like, and then he reassured that I'm an employee, which I was like, okay, go find someone else, someone else. I decided to leave. I was like, I'm not closing anymore. I'm definitely not gonna work for someone else. It's
Yeah.
just I'm a huge egotistical person. So if you trigger something in me, like I'm gonna get the fuck out.
Right.
Not doing that shit anymore. I'm gonna prove you
Yeah.
wrong.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
that's how the whole incident happened, where it's like, okay, cool. I'll just do my own thing then. Shut the fuck up.
And I would say too, that's probably one of the, it's such a common occurrence that, it's amazing to me that business owners will even do something like that. I know, and part of the reason why like FSC exists is because, being a sales manager, sales leader, it's like the first thing you don't do is, don't mess with the pay of the troops. Those guys are bringing
Yep.
it in. Nobody eats until they do, right? And so it's like,
Yep.
how you gonna, cut them out of what they're doing as well. But I also think too, I mean, I remember when you had joined, I think there was like that certain level of hatred and frustration and fed upness with like, what comes next? Is this like all I do? Because when you're done with an offer, it's like, what next? I find another offer and maybe deal with this again and maybe ramp. And so, but that's probably one of the biggest things that I think salespeople have a tricky time with is kind of I think being able to adapt into being that entrepreneur or thinking like
Yep.
that, where they're comfortable, I think, making that jump. For me, it was similar. I was just kind of pushed there out of irritation as opposed to just feeling like, okay, I want to be an entrepreneur and take on these more
Yep.
things. It was like, I don't want that. I know that for certain. So let's deal with the pain that comes with learning this.
Yeah.
Um, and then what were your expectations coming in?
So first of all, I didn't mind getting another offer, honestly, and I was thinking about that.
Hmm.
But my mind was, I mean, like let's start using my skills because I invested in an Airbnb course to actually
Hmm.
do Airbnb, totally different from sales. Ditch all my sales skills and go let's do Airbnb arbitrage.
Completely unrelated industry, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I was planning to do Airbnb arbitrage and be like, okay, I'm just gonna do this to live off savings, you know.
Yeah.
Um, but I was saying like if I have sales skills for the last 4.5 years and I've seen different management and I understand a little bit of marketing, and I mean, not in whole, I need to learn that probably, but I was like, why not just leverage this skill and just learn as I go, you know? Because the
Mhm.
entry barrier, because come to think of it, like the managers that manage me, they didn't know anything about sales nor marketing or anything. I
Mhm.
literally felt like I could do better. So I was like, if
Mhm.
the bar's so low, if they don't know what they're talking about, if they don't know what they're doing, I'll just do it myself. I know I could
Right.
do a better job. And
Yeah.
whenever I say I know I could do a better job, I've always made it work. Um, so I went all in. I decided not to go get another offer, even though I could have,
Mhm.
because I didn't. If I get another offer and make another good 5K, 10K, 20K a month, I'm gonna be comfortable again. I'm not gonna
Right.
try it out. So I decided to go all in. Spend. I decided to go minus actually.
Mm.
I decided to go minus and just spend all my savings and just if I'm gonna make this I'm gonna make this work. I'm gonna go zero
Wow.
multiple times this year.
Yeah.
So that's what I decided to do and invested in a couple of programs. But your program was one of the most impactful in terms of positioning myself.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, getting the popularity that that I have right now in the frame also, and
Yeah.
understanding how to do business also. Um, I've seen it from you. You've been my biggest impact, I'll say.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I remember very distinctly. I mean, we had the pleasure of meeting in Medellin. That was actually right around the time when you had joined. And I think one thing that you'd say that sticks with me, and I think you had mentioned it too, was I remember when you had actually visited in person and you were just seeing how little of a focus there was on sales and all the other stuff that was going on. It was really just, okay, marketing, getting out there, making a name for yourself. And I remember we filmed some stuff with you and just being like, okay,
Yeah.
June, sit there, read this, lights, camera, and you're like, it's like your first time, we played around. We were experimenting back then, so we did ads. We
Yeah.
don't do ads anymore for getting FSC clients, or for you guys for getting clients. But yeah, I just remember that being really, really fun and being able to meet with you and
It
work with
was
you. And
fun and it was uncomfortable at the same time because now if you're a closer, you have to like the mindset that you have as a closer cannot be applied when you're trying to do your own thing or your manager. Like it's two different
yeah,
mindsets also. And
yeah.
what I've seen is that how you guys operate is totally different from what I thought as a business owner as well. Just like
Mhm.
it was fun, it was uncomfortable also. And also at the same time, I'm thinking like if this doesn't work out, at least I've tried first of all. And second
Mhm.
of all, if it doesn't work out, I'll go close. No problem.
Right.
I'll close. Like like what's the worst case scenario? Me closing and making 10K, 20K a month? I'll
Yeah.
do it then. Like there's
I
nothing for me to lose, you know.
You mentioned something earlier too, which is really interesting, right? Which is that difference between working for somebody and being that entrepreneur. Um, it's really different when you make the money for yourself. Could you remember the first like cash you got in? I remember at first you were like, you weren't that impressed by it, but then like I think it sat in that was like, hey, 100% of that is yours. There's not like a 10% cut on that. It's like,
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I can't recall if it was 5K or whatnot or something like that, but I think it was something in that range. And you were
No,
like,
it
five.
was so how I started sales coaching was pretty accidental and it was very like timely at the same time.
Mm-hmm,
I mean, a previous colleague of mine, I mean, he was listening to my call recordings. He would
mm-hmm.
be like, "Oh, Jude, how do you do that?" He would ask me some questions here and there also, and then he was like, he was so fed up with different mentorship in the sales coaching space that he was like, "June, I want to close like you. You
Right.
resonate with me a lot." So, I mean, because I'd done a good job in the previous offers, he was like, "Yeah, I've seen how he closed. Can you just coach me?" So I didn't even run the ads. It was just like I was just good at my job that I got one client in, and then the second client also the week later also suddenly was like, "Hey June, I need help. Also, can you help me?" And just collected 1.6K and 2K out of the blue like that. And I was like,
Yeah.
"Okay, I see the demand here right now. So let's just do it." And then at the same time, I mean, if it wasn't for you, I don't think I would even have thought of starting a podcast or shit like that. But I started a park podcast, and then just everything just went full forward from there, you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, 1,000%. And it picked up pretty quick. I was actually kind of shocked at the rate at which like it was okay, like, hey, I'm doing this stuff. And then it was like, okay, I got a podcast. Now you're like a mainstay. It's funny because I talk to people now who come to FSC and they'll mention that they've either heard of me from you or they see your face and it's like, oh yeah, I know June from the Dynasty. A lot of people in the high ticket niche, watch what it is that you've created and I think follow what you do. They might not be customers or in your school group yet. For those guys who don't know, he does have a school, so recommend becoming part of that. But yeah, and then obviously it started with that, like you said, I think it was like 2000 1.6, and that's all 100% yours, free and clear. It's no 10% commissions on that. Not huge numbers, but I think it starts small. And then how did things kind of grow? Or I would also ask, what was probably the biggest like breakthroughs that you felt kind of in your growth and getting to where you're at now?
Yeah. So what happened was you just I was still like being like, yeah, sales coaching, whatever. I don't want to do sales coaching though. I want to do FSC.
Hmm.
And what you did for me was we were running ads with the script that I created.
Yep.
That script was created to actually what it was like a lead magnet for like business owners.
Hmm.
But what it ended up was with a bunch of, "Hey Jude, I saw you in an ad," or those type of DMs, or there are two guys asking me for, "Hey June, like, well, how much is the service?"
Hmm.
And there was one guy that I just dropped the price on the DMs, by the way. So I just dropped the price, and he was like,
Oh
a week
yeah.
later, a week later, he was like, "Should I do this mentorship or this mentorship? Should I go with this mentorship or should I go with you?" And I was like, "Do whatever you want." And he was like, he saw the value in one-on-one. He decided to do it. His name
Hmm.
is William Rice, by the way. And then
Hmm.
he decided to spread the word also because he went from
Yep.
$800 a month to 5K now 9.3K a month.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, cool. Like he was promoting on behalf of me. Whenever
Yeah.
it was funny because I was trying to do a two-step post to attract clients, and he did it for me actually, and just so it became word of mouth, word of mouth, word of mouth. One thing led to another. Plus this podcast was snowballing. Plus one thing that I learned from you was again positioning and how you write copy so fast. I was like,
Hmm.
I should adopt that in my own
Hmm.
positioning and marketing. So if you guys know me, you guys probably think I've been posting consistently, but I started posting honestly from May. Before then, I was a nobody in the space. Like no one knew
Hmm.
me. I was like this
Hmm.
low key, just good closer, you know.
Yeah,
Um,
you were, I mean, yeah, once more, I know I remember in the communities, it's like, yeah, June, it wasn't the persona or like figure that you've got now, where now you're like this, oh, June, people recognize that name, at least in the high ticket niche. But yeah, you're
yeah.
saying.
So I mean, from May, I started posting every single day. That mindset, that belief system, I think definitely came from you also.
Yeah, I remember when you came, it was just like, okay, chop shop, it was one thing, next thing, next thing, next thing. Okay, we spit out a whole sales letter in a day. We were running, we got ads up and we started filming those, sent those off to get edited. I had actually edited some of them myself and we had them like all in like a
Yeah.
42-hour window up and live. And I remember you saying too in the apartment that was like, I feel like I have a little bit of imposter syndrome. You were sitting right next to me at the computer, just like watching this all come together. I was like, what do you think of that? We're putting numbers and claims and writing an argument. And you're like, I don't know, sure. So yeah.
I mean, those are all legitimate numbers. It's like the way how it was positioned was like, and I love the fact that you're pissing people off with a 30K a month claim also with your ass. You know, you remember that? You know, you're
Yeah,
pissing.
no. I've just gotten unrestricted on Facebook because of my advertising. So, but we're finding a sweet spot with it. But yeah, but no, you're one of the earliest adopters, and I would say now it's like you're probably actually in the top percent of the earnings. If you're comfortable sharing what you were able to do in August to what was like kind of like the growth in your income from month to month. I don't know. Yeah, to what did that kind of look like for yourself?
So when I decided to leave the offer,
Hmm.
obviously the next month I think I made like five I mean there's still a little bit of commission coming in, so I think I made 7K still the next
Hmm.
month after I left the offer, which is like a
Hmm.
huge drop of income, by the way. It was a huge drop of income because I
Right.
was always making consistent 5 figures a month still.
Hmm.
And
Right.
then it was huge drop. But I was like, I'll take the hit. I'll take the hit right now. I
Hmm.
reinvest all that back into like video editing and stuff like that, you know, and positioning and everything. And
Hmm.
then the third month, I think that was August, I think. I don't
Yeah.
exactly remember. But
Yeah.
it went
May.
from and then it went to no, the second month went to like I think 18K, I think,
Hmm.
cash collected.
Hmm.
And then like the most recent which was last month was 30K a month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's not bad. And I remember that was like your goal, right? I think that was like, was that a new high or first time hitting that?
It was the first time hitting that. I've never made like crazy amount of money. My personal best record in closing was above 20K a month.
Hmm.
Um, I think in the closing industry, what's hard, first of all, is making consistent 5 figures a month. I know we both know plenty of guys that made 30K a month with one good offer that offer crashed because of fulfillment and shit like that.
Oh, right.
And then the next month
Yeah.
they're making like 2K or 0K a month. And they couldn't
New
find an
ad
offer for 2
campaign
months.
launches. They do great. Huge money comes in. They're balling out. Thinking it's going to last forever. And then, yeah, fulfillment crashes, marketing crashes, something inevitably breaks,
Yeah.
or like
For
the launch or
me,
the hype dies down.
exactly. For me, I'm not proud of the fact that I haven't made over 30K a month, but I'm proud of the fact that I, despite all of this volatility in the high ticket space, high ticket closing space, I consistently made 5 figures a month, even though I fucked up or even though I was super lazy.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing is pain tolerance and persistence. And it comes through in how you sell, that's for sure. Knowing how to get the job done. If any of you guys know how June sells, um, I'm not going to say it's hard, but it's very accountable. Lots of accountability around like what
Oh,
people
yeah.
say and bringing things to the T. But that's what it takes to be good. And not only have you been doing the sales coaching, because I think a lot of people know you for like your school group and things of that nature, but you also have an FSC client too outside of this. I'd be curious to have you
Oh, yeah.
speak to what it looked like, maybe actually getting clients as well.
Before we get into that, also you're good friends with Victor also. Victor is
Hmm.
literally the school guy, like the school guy, like the guy from school. Like he works with
Hmm.
Alex Ramosi very, very closely. Like Sam Ovens, you get invited to monthly events every single month for free, you know. You
Hmm.
guys helped me a lot with my school community also. Like, so I want to shout out Victor also who's not here, but he helped me a lot with my school community, really a lot.
Hmm.
Like the detailed feedback still apply.
Hmm.
And FSC also, as I'm coaching people also, we were talking about this, right? As we're coaching people also, there are gonna be closers or sales managers that want your help at the end of the day or business owners. So I wasn't
Hmm.
really pushy, Lord. I wasn't really going hard on FSC deals. But
Hmm.
because of the positioning and everything that like you've installed within me, it's like, okay, cool. Now I'm getting like
Hmm.
FSC deals organically, even though I'm not hard, like trying hard. Did it take
Right.
time? Yes, it took time because it was organic, but ultimately it paid off really.
Yeah, that's what had happened to me when I first started posting on YouTube and then started Persuasion Academy and then got kind of known for doing sales training. Eventually people approach you like, "Hey, I've got a sales team or I've got this or I've got that." And they recognize you. It's also, how does it feel too to get to a place where it's like, it's like a rocket getting out of orbit. Now you're in a place where you've got, just things that come to you. How is it now being completely, I think, and you don't sell for any offers outside of this, just for the record, right? It's
No, no,
pure,
I don't have time for that.
yeah.
Really, I really don't have time.
How is it now, or how does it kind of feel to be in the place where it's just you and yourself as a business, completely detached from like anybody else compared to what you used to be as a closer, where you're so used to like looking for some offer for leads?
It's liberating, it's fun, and it's scary at the same time. It's not
Hmm.
definitely for the faint of heart, because depending on
Right.
your performance now, like you don't know what's gonna happen. But at least for me, like whenever I feel like, oh, like is this gonna work? Is this gonna work? Like, can I make money next month? I mean, I do have stability, and stable
Hmm.
system, but there's a level of anxiety also. But
Yeah.
and at the back of my mind, like to anyone who's watching this, like the worst case scenario, if it doesn't work out, is like get back into sales, maybe 10K a month, 20K a month.
Yeah.
Oh
Get back
wow,
to
what a
it.
what a worst case scenario.
Right. Yeah.
And keep on, and
No.
if you're still making 10K, 20K a month as closer, at one point, like there is going to be a sales management opportunity happening still at one point still, if you do your job right.
Yeah, yeah. And I would say, I mean, that's even something that members of FSC have had where it's like, if you're just a good salesperson and exist long enough, eventually the opportunity will present itself. The key is just not to shoot yourself in the foot with the negotiations, the numbers, and things of that nature.
Yeah.
Now, from my perspective, so oh yeah, you've got a client now. You've also had a couple clients that have approached you even prior to the coaching stuff picked up as big as it did. But if you could speak to kind of your client, the niche that they're in, and then also what was your experience like with getting clients and bringing those deals to a close?
I mean, we decided to, first of all, we decided to go on the financial services. I was like, no, I'm not really
Hmm.
confident with that because I come from a huge biz op. I
Hmm.
sold different type of things, but mostly it was biz op. So okay.
Yeah.
And then I attracted one biz op opportunity. The current one is a biz op opportunity. The other
Hmm.
one is more like, I mean, it's potential. It's on the line, but it's more like credit services plus a little bit of biz op also attached.
Hmm.
And there's another one which is a trading company. I don't think I'm gonna move forward with them honestly, because
Hmm.
like there's no point doing it. I mean they're not gonna pay me a good base pay every single month, and I've heard so many stories where people just if it's percentage they would not make the payment. So
Hmm.
I mean
Yeah.
there needs to
Few
be a proper agreement in place. So I mean I know you help it out with that.
Yeah,
So
1000%. I'd say maybe we should jam on it and look at it. But I think one thing too that you've been that I've kind of observed even from like all the students that we've got now and even just seeing yours is you've always been very clear on like what you will and won't do and what your value is. And I think that's something that is a really powerful skill to have that some of the members of FSC don't quite have. A lot of people who are considering FSC but don't join don't have, which is that willingness once more, I think, to just like lean on yourself and your value and know your own worth and to embrace that anxiety that comes with being and kind of owning your own business. Because yeah, I mean, you're making more, you've got more freedom now, but the accountability is to you. It's not to some business owner. And so that's where if you stop showing up for yourself or you stop doing the things that you need to do, then things slow down. But same thing, if you're an FSC and you have a team that you're leading, you got to continue to help show up for the business owner, for the guidance. But I'd say like almost with everything in life and business is it flows to whoever's the most responsible and most consistent. And so despite, you call yourself lazy, but I'd say you've been, very consistent with a lot of this stuff. It might not be perfect. It might not be as eloquent or as professional. Or it might just be like spur of the moment right at the finish line, but you still get it done.
yeah,
And the results are just proof of that. You've created
yeah.
enough value to where it comes back to you.
Yeah. My mind is more like, even though I know I'm very lazy. I'm a lazy individual, but even amidst being lazy, I believe in consistency. And second thing, I just believe in trying different things out, like not
Hmm.
living a life of regret. Um, And like literally before this meeting, we are talking about like running my ads. Well, I've never run ads, never put
Hmm.
like a lot of money into ads also. So is it uncomfortable?
Hmm.
Yes, it's uncomfortable again, but I'd rather try than not try. I want to see what's out there, you know? And for
Right.
me, like as I'm trying different things out there, I know, okay, this is something that I like, and this is something that I
Hmm.
dislike also. But if
Hmm.
you're only in this closing bubble also, then you tend to you don't really know what's out there at the end of the day, you know?
Right. Yeah. No, that's entirely true. And I mean that right there is, I'd say, probably the a cleanest articulation of like what it takes, I think, to win, what it takes to succeed. And like
Easier
I
said
think
than
the other
done, we
thing,
all know.
too, for sure, absolutely easier said than done. But I'd say with that, what would you say for anyone who's a skeptic, maybe someone who's watching this who's considering it but hasn't quite pulled the trigger or decided to make it happen?
I mean, this is not for everyone again. Like if you're I don't know what you think, but if you're not if you're just like trying to make this you like let's say you haven't made sales work. You're trying to make
Right.
this work. Try to make talking with people work first and then come to the space first of all. Like you got to know what
Right.
you're doing first of all. So it's not about the experience, it's about how good and how good you know you are in sales. And then, okay,
Hmm.
okay, I can transfer the skill to sell. Like you got to make one thing work before you do something else, you know? So make that work. So this is not for everyone, but people that be like, okay, I think I'm decent at what I do. I've been doing this
Hmm.
for 1 year, 2 years now. I think I'm definitely better than 90% of the people out there or 80% of the people out there. I just
Right.
feel like there's a next step to this. And I want to see what's out there. Then this is exactly for those people. Again, what's
Right.
the worst case scenario? Worst case scenario is staying at your current clothing position and just making 20K a month, 10K a month, because you're decent at what you do. Best
Hmm.
case scenario is seeing what's out there and like taking the next step and having a relatively scalable business, you know.
Yeah. And I think building on that, like you said, once you make you made talking with people work, you've now made building your own brand and sales training and kind of your own ecosystem between schoolwork. What's next?
What's next? And I mean, from that on, also FSC doesn't have to be like an end goal, also, right? Like I know tons of people that have done coaching and then they start their software business or whatever. So
Hmm.
one thing can always lead to another opportunity, you know. One thing can always lead to another opportunity. So try shit out. Like if you feel like you qualify for it, like there's no one stopping you. No one's stopping you. You don't need permission to have anyone tell you, hey, like you can't do this. Fuck all of that and just do it and see it for yourself.
Yeah. No, 1,000%. And I think too, doing those other things becomes so much easier once you've gotten to the sustainability that I think FSC can provide, or the security that can help provide. And also, I think the transformation internally of going from just a salesperson into being your own
Yeah,
standalone business owner and getting
yeah,
to a point where, okay, like you said, you can now play around with ads, you can now play around with other things, and other
yeah,
things you want to do. But that's so much easier to do knowing that you don't have some sales manager over you or some offer owner over you checking in on your stats, your KPI, your performance. If you're under, and every dollar you make goes that much further.
yes.
Even if you go
And
from
build
30K to 10K or 15K, you're not taking sales calls for days on day. That's another thing. How
yeah.
much do you feel like you work? Well, do you feel like you work more now on your own business than you did when you're a closer? I mean, it might make sense if you did, but how does this work compared to when you were just
I mean,
calendaring?
I'm definitely working more, but it's not like it's not like I don't want to work it, you know. I have fun working for my own thing. It's more
Hmm.
pressure, more stake at work, but I mean, I'm posting like, for example, content creation. Like that's what I like to do. Coaching people, that's what I like to do. Getting on sales call, did I enjoy that? I never enjoyed getting on sales calls, by the way. I just
Hmm.
enjoy the progression and the persuasion aspect of it and the
Hmm.
beauty of identity frames or like these fancy stuffs also and keep someone accountable.
Hmm.
That's what I enjoyed of, but sales call itself, no, I never enjoyed it. I
Right.
enjoy creating new connections, having friends also, one-on-one coaching or group coaching. That's what I enjoy. So having to do things that I really enjoy is very liberating. And one more thing in terms of FSC is the stability. I mean, closing in the high ticket space, very, very volatile. Offer crashing left and right, lead flow dropping like day and night also in different offers.
Hmm.
Like stability has never been so important till now, really.
Hmm. Hmm. Right. And I think it's also easier to find too, if you make a lot more, but your income if you're still spending and living as if you're making, 10 to 15, but you're making 30, twice that. then that gives you wiggle room. In a month, you just put away 2 months, or you can think bigger or be more aggressive. But yeah, well, cool. I'd say you've done
Yeah.
it. I mean, you've made to the elite. We've got to get your jacket out. You keep traveling around all over the globe, so it's hard to ship it if you're in a new
I don't
country
have
every
room in
couple of
my
weeks or
freaking
so.
luggage, man. I don't have room in my luggage.
Yeah, but with that, yeah, you guys heard it first. It's been June. June, I don't know, any closing notes for anybody who's watching?
Um, I mean, don't do it. Caleb sucks. Don't ever do it. Ever join. Don't ever join. Don't even think about it, guys.
Yeah, no, it's not for you, right? Oh, that's great. Love it. Well, yeah, with that, I'll see you guys in the next one, June. It's been a pleasure. And check him out on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. No, just Instagram, Facebook are sort of the big two. And school, the school group. I'll link his stuff down below. But yeah,
Awesome.
cheers.
Ciao.